What's up, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes are back. Do we not always deliver, or what? One of the best bantamweights in the world joins us now. His name is Adrian Yanez. Adrian's going to be fighting at I think it's the final card of the year. It's a fight night out in Tampa, Florida. He joins us now on the hotline. What's going on, Adrian? Good to see you.
Man, good to see y'all too, man. Happy I get to at least get to fight 2 times in the year, so I'm really excited about that.
Daniel Marcos, your opponent.
Mhm.
Undefeated. Did you stare at the 16 or the O, like when you first heard about him and knew you were going to lock up with him?
Man, honestly, I've kind of already had his name kind of in the line of sights. Like I had a couple people who've called me out, and then people who I would like to face. Because I know somebody like Daniel Marcos. I need to fight somebody like him to put myself back in the top 15. So it was either the people that called me out, like John Castaneda, Daniel Santos, and then Peyton Talbot, and then looking at guys who would want to who I'd want to fight to get into the top 15. Either so whenever I saw Daniel Marcos and I saw the opportunity popped up, like I was so eager to jump and sign the contract just because God, man, it was just one of those again, it's just one of those things like, yeah, like this is the next step for me to take so I can get back on the track that I need. I got the car, I got my wheels back on the road. Now it's time to accelerate and go forward. So and Daniel Marcos, is definitely one stop destination right now. And then from there I'll figure out where we go next.
You ever given someone their first loss? I'm not talking about like a 1-0 or 2-0. I mean, someone that got to like 10 or anything like that.
Man, I can't remember. I don't think I have at all. Uh
Mm,
no,
all
like
right.
probably back in my early couple fights, but that's about it. As an amateur, yeah. As an amateur, yeah, but not as a pro, not at the moment. I can't wait to have that feeling.
All right. All right. This one is going to make you think. You ready?
Mhm.
Go ahead and drink some Dr. Pepper if you need to really, really focus. Here it comes. Here it
Got
comes.
you.
Who is the Mount Rushmore of Houston-based fighters? So Mount
Houston-based
Rushmore, four
fighters.
presidents. You got to replace them with who are the best four fighters to ever come out of Houston.
So the best. Okay. That one to me should be fairly. That one should be fairly easy for sure. Uh, the top spot definitely has to go to Derek Lewis just because he's been the closest one to touch the title. He fought for an interim. I think he fought for the undisputed at a point. Of course he's wasn't able to achieve it, but at the same time, someone from Houston, going out there, uh, definitely Derek Lewis takes the top spot. The next one I would have to say is definitely Daniel Pineda. Uh, just because I remember seeing his career and legacy and all that, and he kind of made it feel like it was more possible for someone like me to be able to make it in.
Mhm.
Because again, I'd seen him fight so much in his early career. So whenever I seen him get signed, and again, he signed 3 fights. Then after that, took a couple of losses, got cut, but then he worked his way back into the UFC, and that was inspiring. So for me, watching that is pretty cool. So yeah, definitely had to put Danny Pineda on there. There's a couple more guys, but the other good one who's been making a lot of a noise, especially from Houston, and how much he dedicates a lot to the Houston community as well, too, like the MMA community. Like he
Mhm.
serves as an announcer, like not announcer, but a commentator for Fury. Alex Morano, definitely had to put
Mm,
Alex Morano on there as well
okay.
too, because you put a name on your resume like Donald Cerrone, you have to be put up top right there. And the next one,
Are you thinking of including yourself?
man, it's I'm kind of like teeter tottering. Like I don't know if
Okay,
I
so
should.
then if you are, and I have
Mhm,
no problem with if you
mhm,
are, I think you're a badass. But if
mhm.
you are, we have to deliver some bad news to Daniel Pineda or Alex Morano, and I'll tell you why. Because we have to include Eves Edwards, who's an
Oh yeah.
OG in the sport and who got really close to a
Mhm.
title the same way Derek Lewis did. At one point, they may have even said he
Oh
was the
yeah.
best
Oh
lightweight.
yeah. If it, I
So,
could like. Here's the thing. I
so I
completely
think
had
we're looking at
forgot about
him,
Eves.
Lewis, and then I have no problem including you. And then if we're gonna go non-fighters, Mick
Mhm.
Maynard might have to get some love. He did Legacy, and he's a UFC matchmaker.
Oh,
But if we just
so
if we
oh,
exclude fighters, then that's fine. Then I'm just saying
so
I wanted to throw some more out
I
there.
would probably put in Eves because I forgot about it because he was here for the longest time, but then he had to take off and left to other gyms and had to take off for
Yeah,
at
he was
least
from
like
Conroe, Texas. I remember originally.
yeah. So if I went by the logic that I'm going in, like Houston kind of just stayed with Houston or like stayed around this Texas area, like Daniel Pineda never left. Derek Lewis, he never left. For myself, if I left, it was like maybe like a 2 week stint, but always came back to Houston.
Mm.
Uh Alex Morano, I know he goes up to Dallas, so it's kind of like an extension. It's kind of like almost an extension.
Well, there's no right
Eves,
and wrong, but it was fun
yeah.
to throw around some names, and
Oh,
I think you're
that
definitely
is a good
making
one.
your way to that list, or you may already be there
I
because of the
if we're
successes you've
going
had.
because I was just thinking just completely just fighters, but if we're talking about like everything as a whole, Mick Maynard definitely takes the spot, definitely for sure. And I would probably take out I it's a toss up for Pineda and Morano. If we're gonna throw out Eves, throw in Eves in there with that off the criteria, then yeah, for sure, I'd one of those two off. So it'd be Mick Maynard, Derek Lewis, and then Eve, and then again it's a toss up between Daniel Pineda and Alex Morano. If we're just going just MMA, just in general in Houston, for sure. That's my list.
Okay, respect.
Keeping
All
myself
right,
off of that.
you like it, Ghost? Do you agree?
I like it. I just don't know how far we extend out of Houston because there's some guys on. When you think of Texas, there's a lot of different fighters. But yeah, I'm good. But
Okay.
I would put Adrian in it too as well.
Yeah, I think if we go non-fighters, then Mick, Derek, Eve, meaning we include Mick, and then I
Mhm.
think I'll have to look and see with Pineda, Morano, and Yanez, but Yanez is here, so I'm gonna go Yanez right here to his face.
I'd completely understand. I for me like more personally, I'd see Pineda going in there just because of the fact that he was one of the first guys. Like he was like one of the first couple guys that
Right.
I saw go in.
Yeah.
Like this is like back with he was wearing Venom shorts before Venom was a sponsor. He was like had the all the sponsorships on there and everything. So I'd probably put him in there. But also I'd be going back and forth. I was like, because Alex Morano did beat Don Cerrone, and I kind of had to be like, well, that's a really big name, and he beat him. So I'd probably, I don't know. They're interchangeable to me.
Okay. All right, goes. What do you have for our guest here, Adrian Yanez? Since we're done talking Houston sports.
So going back to where we started at the beginning of the interview, you've done 3 fights before in a year. You've also done 2. Where do you feel like you get better? The more you fight or the more you can actually be in the gym and just kind of focus on yourself? Where do you make the biggest leaps and bounds?
Man, I feel like every single time I've went out and I fought, it's always given me places where I need to learn and get better at. Like from I'd probably have to say from the Gustavo fight to the Randy fight to the Davey fight, I felt like I leveled up every single time I fought. Uh and it was just like for me, it was just consistently staying in the gym too. There was like kind of no off breaks, no nothing. It was like, all right, cool. Like I fought in that Gustavo Lopez didn't come out hurt, went back to training probably after that first week, started training for a fight, got the call for Randy, and then still kept training. There's a lot of stuff that went on during that time, but like I've progressively have gotten better, and it's easier to start kind of being like, okay, I need to work on this, especially at this level. I feel like the more active I am, the better I get. Sitting like kind of one fight, 2 fights, it kind of gets rough to like again, you get like like fight every 6 months, like this year has kind of been. It's kind of hard to stay like in the gym and like going to all the sessions not knowing if you're gonna have a fight or not. So like there is also kind of like this other
Mhm.
struggle you have to go through during those times. But once a fight camp comes, you start tightening up and getting better. But I feel me being more active definitely causes me to get a lot better. You know, so for me, I would rather stay 100% way more active than I have been these past couple years.
So, what would you? The last fight before we spoke to you,
Mhm,
you seemed, I don't want to say more dialed in because I've always found you to be dialed into your fight. You
mhm.
were definitely more intense. I like this matchup here for you. Do you still have that intensity? Has it been replaced with anything else? In other words, are you still kind of Darth Yanez for this fight?
Oh no, 100%. I'm able to compartmentalize it a little bit more, a little bit better. I kind of was like, I knew I was kind of like with my back against the wall, and I still feel like my back is against the wall. I just compartmentalize it a little bit better because I know I have to come home and be with the family, and I can't put myself like in that type of a mode and be around the family like that. I don't want to do that, but every time I'm on my way to the gym, like it's just it always seems to take that little click. I had sparring yesterday night, so it was just one of those things where like on the way to sparring, it's just like, all right, thinking about it, just thinking about the fight, I can feel myself putting myself back in that place, and I feel it like right now. Even once we start talking about the fight and start seeing what I need to do in front of me, I started putting myself in that mode, and it's just like, uh I do like being happy. I do like being joyful, but at the same time, I know it's at stake in front of me. And for me to be able to spend more time with my family, I definitely have to go in there and start Marco. So for me, I'm kind of in that mode. I just been able to compartmentalize it a lot better, just because again, like, uh, have I have 2 kids now. I gotta be able to come home. I gotta be able to play dad, be a good partner and making sure that the baby's all good, like the baby's good, the baby's getting taken care of, and also my almost 3-year-old now, making sure that he's good and he's like whenever I come home, like I can't be in this like super dark mode. I can do it on the way to the gym. I can put myself in that mood shift. So it's super easy for me to put myself in that position and like get there, because again, I have a family I need to provide for, and like I can't let anybody stop me in that in what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to accomplish. So uh again, I'm able to compartmentalize it a little bit better. Like I was starting to feel myself drift into it. I was like, "Fuck, all right, cool." But yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so George kind of brought something up, and that's when you have an undefeated fighter.
Mhm.
Throughout the history of our show, just talking to fighters, they always get this little smile when they know they could possibly take somebody's O. What about for you? Does that mean anything? Like, is that like a little added incentive? Does it make it sweeter to put that skin on your wall?
Oh yeah, 100%. Man, seeing Daniel and seeing I just keep telling her I'm gonna take his goose egg, man. I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna give him the one. Like I'm gonna give him the one. He might be really good. He might be the next best thing, but I'm gonna give him that one. I'm gonna be that guy that takes that one because, hey, it's just something. It's just a challenge, man. Like you just see that in front of you. You're just like, oh, he's a dangerous man. He's a very dangerous man, and I know I am too. So whenever I see that, it excites me. It gives me a little bit like more room for the challenge. Like, all right, cool. Like I can put myself here. I know what I got to do, and especially, man, he was on the way to being ranked. And for me, there's a lot of things that they're on the plus side, especially like he's on a roll. I can stop the momentum. If I halt that momentum right now, it puts me right back in the top 15 and puts me on the position where I need it. I know in the direction that I know I need to go. So like there's a lot of added stuff on it, especially with the him being undefeated, me being the guy to give him that one. Oh man, it's exciting.
Can video game Adrian
Mhm.
Yanez ever reach the same intensity as fight Adrian Yanez? Because I've seen you game before, and I've gamed before where things kind of get intense and you don't even realize it. Next thing you know, you're like, "Shut up over there!" Or, stop knocking on the
Yeah.
door. Like, have you ever gotten anywhere near the intensity of how you are, like in a fight week or something like that, playing video games?
No, I don't find myself being put in that position, but for me, like the gaming aspect for me has always been fun. It's always like I always want to have fun. I'm trying to make sure that it's my off time. Like it's like I'm here to have fun. Like I'm not one of those guys that jumps on Call of Duty or Apex Legends or Fortnite and jumps on and just takes it so serious. Like, nah, man, I'm here to have fun. So I don't game so serious. So like I know friends and I have friends that I've played with, and jumped on a squad, and like they're like so dialed in where they start getting angry, and I'm just like, bro, just chill out, man. It's we're having a fun time, man. Like we don't it doesn't need to be like this. Just relax, bro. We don't get to spend most of our day on this. We got people here like who get paid to do this. So if we're in the same server, then we're getting our asses beat. So it is what it is. Have fun, dude. Just have some fun, man. So I don't see myself being able to put myself in that position unless there's only like one unless I'm like on a game with my brother, or like we're playing UFC or like boxing or whatever. My brother knows how to pull that out of me pretty easily, like me and him playing, we'll just talk mad shit to each other and just start playing, so I can get it. Like it just has to be the certain person to bring it out of me, like my brother.
All right. Well, before we wrap up, I got an update for you, Adrian. I kind of did a little quick research. Don't worry, I heard everything. As far as your game mode, your brother can pull the worst out of you. This guy's my brother; he can do that too. No, but listen. Okay, so I do have some unfortunate news. You're not in my Houston.
Oh man,
Mount Rushmore. But you know what? You gave respect to those fighters, and I'm gonna do it too. So I think Derek Lewis, yes,
yeah,
and then Eve Edwards because he's an OG. If we go the route of we can include non-fighters, and Mick Maynard, I think he's done some great things. So that would leave spot for one more, and I think Morano gets Pineda. The one thing that stood out about Pineda was he finished every one of his wins. I was like, damn, 19 KOs and 9 submissions, or vice versa.
Oh yeah.
I was like, whoa, okay. But then I looked at Alex Morano, and he does have some nice skins on his wall. Aside from Cerrone, I think he's beaten a little higher level competition than Pineda, so I might have to give it to Morano. But they both proudly display Houston in their bios and all that. But if if we exclude them and say fighters only, then it would be Derek, Eves, Morano, and Pineda, but only because you just haven't fought as much as them. So you're on a trajectory to get to them, and maybe that'll be your incentive. Maybe when the interview's over, you'll shut the computer and go, man, them fools, I'm going to show them. And if that's
I'm
the case,
gonna have all their pictures on the wall, be like, I'm coming for you. No, but that's the thing also for me too, because like it's like for them, for me, like again, I saw them like fighting while I was still an amateur. So it's like I was making my pro debut, and Alex Morano, like we were fighting on the same card, but he already had like so many more fights than I had. So like I see guys like that, and I 100% would 100% bow down and be like, hey, yeah, that's y'all spot. Like if y'all are trying to do, like if I were to go out there and go on this massive run where I get the title, I'm like, all right, cool, put me on the Mount Rushmore there for sure. That would probably be it. Oh, there's definitely still time, but for right now, 100%, I agree. Like if we're doing just fighters, 100%, Derek Lewis, Eve Edwards, Daniel Pineda, Alex Morano. If we're doing non-fighters as well too, yeah, Mick Maynard, I'd probably pull out Pineda. But also there's kind of like that aspect of like, oh, I remember the moment, the fact when he got in. So like I have all these extra emotions like attached to it, because again, like I was building the cages that they fought in. So for me,
really?
it's like yeah, a lot of times Mick so Mick knew, crew? Mick knew the family that I started training jiu-jitsu with, the Serrano family. So they used to go build cages for Legacy. And they every once in a while they're like, hey, if you want to go watch some fights, hey, like come on. So every single time we'd show up like a couple hours before the event, build the cage, watch the fights, tear down the cage, and then go home. So I watched a lot of Legacy fights, growing up. I used to see I remember seeing Daniel Pineda throw that spinning back fist throw a spinning back fist and land it and knock the guy out. I seen Derek Lewis like pretty much like bench press this guy off of him and end up knocking him out. So it's like I seen a lot, and I seen Alex Morano fight so many times, you know. So for me, it's like, oh no, and again, it kind of goes all in full circle with what like with those three guys, because again,
Yeah.
the person who was running it, Mick. So like I
Holly
have no.
Holm fought
Oh
at
yeah.
Legacy. Valentina Shevchenko fought once or twice there as well. Henry Cejudo. Yeah, I mean, they got a lot of great fighters that have come through there. And we'll give a shout out to coach Sal Solis, who was instrumental in helping
Oh yeah.
grow you know, the
Oh yeah.
sport of MMA, right, through his coaching. He was on The Ultimate Fighter. He did have, we can say,
Oh
a world
man.
champion, because he was with Tito Ortiz for a majority
Oh
of his
damn that.
run, and then he obviously was instrumental, I know, in your career. So, you know, even if we expand outside and just say, hey, give me 10 great names,
Oh yeah,
obviously we'd include the coach.
And you know what too, man? He used to be a promoter as well too. He used to be a promoter, throw shows as well too, man. Yeah, definitely scratch off Morano off that list. Put in Saul. It's easy. It's easy for me to do that. So, but yeah, no, if we're expanding the region on all that, then definitely I put Saul as number one king overall. People say Mount Rushmore, and I'm just thinking for MMA, like I specifically think of fighters. I don't think of like any other things. But for adding all that, oh yeah, 100%, yeah, bro.
Well,
King Saul all day.
It's subjective. It can be your own list, however you want it. But maybe it'll be something that stays with you in a few years. We're laughing because you're at the top, and everyone else is looking at you if you can make a run for that belt.
You know what? I'm gonna try to see if someone can sculpt that out for me. The Mount Rushmore of Houston, and I'm gonna try. I'm gonna hit some people up. I need to figure this out.
Yeah, well, if it gets too big, you might have to go to a starting 5 or a starting 11, like in soccer. That way you don't hurt feelings. But that wall's in the back is kind of empty.
Oh yeah, it's pretty empty, man. It's pretty empty. I hope, hopefully it'll be a whole new house here pretty soon. So
there you go.
That's what I'm hoping for.
All right, man. Well, hopefully we took your mind off the weight cut, the fight, the grind, and we had some fun, and like we always do. And look, we look forward to your fight at the end of the year in Tampa Bay. It's a fabulous card. Gary and Buckley at the top, and Daniel Marcos, undefeated Peruvian. Our mom's Peruvian. He's going to be fighting our boy here, Adrian Yanez. That should be a great scrap. Thanks, Adrian, for the time as always.
Oh man, thank y'all for the platform.